Well, I am excited for today's episode. I have three beautiful IFBB pros who are very good with marketing and building a brand. It's just something I want to talk about. I don't think a lot of athletes know how to build a brand nor market their product, which is them, the physique and their personality and all that kind of stuff. So with us today, now, Ashley, you're going to have to help me. I'm going to try to pronounce your last name. This is going to be very difficult for me. I'm Lakamowski?
You got it. You spelled it out.
Lakamowski. Like that.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
It is an honor having you here. I followed you for some time. I'm a huge stalker. I love your posts. I love what you do. Of course, we have the beautiful Chelsea Dion, who was just in the Rising Phoenix a little bit ago. Thank you for coming on. And the sensational Mela Ash. Again, another great person who does well with the marketing. Ladies, I want to ask you, first of all, Ashley, what have you been up to? You've taken some time off. What's going on in your world?
So I've taken time off. I felt like it was kind of a difficult year. So Mike's brother had passed away, and this was before my show. And I competed, got through that. The outcome for my mental wasn't what I wanted, but I did it, and after looking back at that show, I was like, you know what? I'm happy with what I brought for what I could bring, at the time. Taking the time off and just enjoying life, you know what I mean? And having a good balance, because I feel like it can kind of restrict you if you're just like, balls to the wall all the time when it comes to competing. Mm-hmm. And so been doing that. Mike now, my husband, he is actually competing in 7 weeks.
I didn't know he competed. Wow.
Yeah. So the last time he competed was, I think, like 4 years ago. And so he was having reoccurring issues that were kind of happening when he would prep for a show. And he was just like, it's not meant to be. Finally, he's doing that. And I'm able to kind of sit back and be part of this journey with him, which I'm so excited to be part of that, because I'm like, you know what I mean? It's fun. So he's doing that. It's also motivating for me as well, because he is competing, but it's also motivating with my off season. So I'm able to still feel like, okay, like he's doing this, and it just, those little things motivate you.
Sure.
So doing that and just still, trying to build, other social media platforms as well, mm-hmm. while I'm doing this, and just learning how things work, with TikTok, YouTube.
I still can't figure out TikTok for the life of me.
Me either.
I know, it's weird. It's really weird. And so I found this rhythm, or just found something just to do basic, because all the other stuff is just oh my gosh, it gets too much. Mm-hmm. Is just doing post once a day, and it could be of your training and posing, and kind of doing a 10-second quick 10-second 12-second thing. And so then I noticed with doing that, I've been able to gain followers, because I never really was active on it. So just being consistent with that and doing little things, sure. And then kind of finding your rhythm,
sure.
Of what people like, I don't know, or what you feel like doing.
These are things I want to talk about in this episode, because there is a rhythm to it. There's a tone that you have to set, for your fans. So I'm really curious to dissect it and find it out, because I'm still learning. Chelsea, are you on cloud 9 still after the Rise in Phoenix?
Absolutely. Totally on cloud 9 still. Still don't think that it really happened.
Who was the little fur baby I saw there peeking through?
It is. Gotta say hi. So this is Tito, my first child. And then this is Scooby. He's 1 today.
Oh, look at that. Look at those eyes. He's so big. Oh, yeah, happy birthday. What a cutie.
Yeah, my little baby. We took him to the beach for the first time this weekend, and he loved it.
Aw. Now, did you name Tito's? That's his name?
Yes, Tito is the first
Tito.
one.
Is that after Tito's Vodka?
Absolutely is. I, was a Tito's only girl, and then once I stopped drinking, and I got him, I was like, you know what, Tito is a great name for a Frenchie.
It is. Mela, what's going on with you? You've got that thinking cap on. How are you feeling? I'm sure you're on
I
top of
was
the
looking
world
at
too.
their adorable dogs.
Yeah. You don't have any dogs, Mela, do you?
No, I don't, but I want some. I want two. The problem is that I like really big dogs, like really big dogs. And so I live in an apartment and I don't believe to put, a large dog in an apartment. So
Mhm.
though I am starting to lean towards the whole golden doodle.
Oh,
Those are adorable.
they're
I
great
know.
dogs.
Yeah.
I saw a couple of them, a red one, and I was just like, you know what? If I was to get a small dog, it would be something like that. So
Hmm.
I don't know. But yes, right now I'm trying to get my rhythm back, as in dealing with the business aspect of, life. My clients, getting back into the rhythm of following up with my clients with their progress and everything. I got a couple of them getting ready for some amateur shows, and then some lifestyle clients that I need to get back on track because it happens in the holiday season. People just kind of lose their way. All it
Yes.
takes is one office party, and then
Right.
all of a sudden you're just like, I don't know where these 10 pounds came from. Like probably all the
Right.
cookies you eat every time you walk through the door.
Yes.
So I'm like, I'm thankful enough that all the clients that I have, competition prep and lifestyle clients, that they understand that, although I do coach, I am an active athlete that competes. And so, they give me that bit of grace when I need to, you know, focus in on what I need to do to get ready for a show. And so,
I was
but once
curious
I
about
finish with
that.
that, it's that, you know, fire on both ends, trying to get everybody back up to speed, get everything together. And with another show coming up so quickly, it's like, okay, I got to get all this taken care of because I'm about to go back
Well, see, let me
into
ask you
that
a
zone
question.
again.
When
So,
you have clients like that and you have a show close, do you take a break or how does that work? Do you still train them or?
well, a lot of my clients are virtual. So I do have some
Okay.
what I call, because I'm not a personal trainer, I'm a development coach. So the only thing that I actually provide when it comes to actual training is I help my clients develop specific body parts or develop their bodies in relation to if it's bodybuilding, whatever division they're in. But I also I'm a development coach when it comes to fitness. Also helps with performance. So I help like my soccer clients,
Oh, okay.
get the type of leg
Right.
strength and leg turnover they need, or the running clients. So whatever sports you're in and whatever functional aspects you need and those muscles to be developed to really execute, I help those clients do that. So,
I'm going to hire
um,
you to develop my glutes and my shoulders. You got
yeah,
phenomenal shoulders.
usually I'm like, I always tell people, I'm like, there's no magic trick. It's one of those things. It's all about form, function, and
Sure.
cadence when it comes to it. And then the proper amount of nutrition coming
Hmm.
into that process.
Hmm.
So a lot of times you have people that are just like, oh, I beast out in the gym. I'm like, do you really? Do
Beast
you?
out.
So everybody feels that if they're in the gym for over an hour, they're beasting out. And I always tell them, it's just like, it's not about how much time you're in the gym, it's how effective the time in the gym is.
So
And
can
so it's
somebody
that
explain
proper
to me
form
what
and
the hell is
function,
beasting out? What is that? What does that mean?
which is so
Is,
funny because, for some reason, everybody now is beasting out in the gym. And it's just like, okay, so does that mean you're training hard or you're savagely attacking people? Help me understand what direction we're going in with this because it's supposed to encompass everything, I guess. Oh, I beasted out in the gym. I was beasting out. I'm like, okay, a lot of bestiality going on here.
yeah,
I'm not
no
sure.
kidding. No kidding. Well, I am happy that you're not beasting out. Other people could be beasting out, but that's on them. But anyway, Ashley, I want you to tell me what is your why to building your brand? Why do you? I mean, what is your tone that you set when you do your posts. And, you know, there's one post that really, it touched my heart. It made me cry. And it was months ago, talking about body positivity, you know, being where you are right now versus when you're in contest shape. And it really hit me because, you know, as athletes, we like to be in shape all year round. And some of us, you know, it's not very healthy to do that. But it's hard because you see yourself from one way and then you see yourself another way. And I totally felt what you were feeling because I've been in that position where it's like, man, I want to be in shape right now. But, you know, unfortunately, I'm a little bit bulky. What inspired you? I mean, what does inspire you to make the posts that you make? You're obviously speaking from your heart, which I find is very genuine, and that's something you want to have for setting your tone on social media, I think.
Yeah, I really appreciate that you even read them. Sometimes I wonder, I'm like, I wonder if people read, because, you know, sometimes like you wonder, people will comment and you're like, did you even read my post? You
It
know?
was a very
So,
heartfelt post. I mean, you know.
so I appreciate you reading that, but I feel like over the years it's changed from when I first started my Instagram and where I was at in my life. I feel like over the years it's changed. Like it's like almost like you're growing through like your social media. So when I started in 2017, end of 2017, before I competed, right? My intention was different when I started and like what I wanted out of it and how I inspired people. It was more just like, you know, getting on there because I didn't have any followers and I was competing and I wanted to have a social media because I knew that's where, you know, sponsorships came in and where people could see and stuff. Um, and so then over the years now, I feel like I'm in a place in my life where I finally feel accepting of myself and feeling like it's okay to feel down, to feel up, to feel like I'm looking at myself and looking at my physique like, oh my God, like before it'd be like, oh my God, you're a piece of crap, the way you look. And I think kind of that whole that body shame comes in. And I feel like in competing in the bodybuilding world, it can do that to you
Mm-hmm.
because it's like you look at yourself and we're always trying to improve on every part of our body. And sometimes it doesn't seem to be good enough, you know? And so then you critique yourself more. But I feel like if you find that, like, I don't know, it's more of just like this feeling like kind of a place in your life where you're just like, you know what? Like, you look fabulous. Even if I didn't compete again, like, you know, and in a way, maybe you might compare yourself to the average Joe,
Sure.
you know, because we're not. We're like amazing humans that do something crazy. And I think just having a balance and finding that within yourself and your life and for me it's like now I want to share that with other people on social media, you know, and that because we always hear like, oh, people only share like the highlight reels
True.
and
Well, it's true.
you know, yeah, and it is true because they do, but also what comes from that, you know, is a place of feeling a lack of confidence, you know, feeling like we're not good enough, you know, needing validation. But I think that naturally we all want validation, but it doesn't have to be bad. It's more of just trying to inspire other people and letting them know, hey, it's okay. Hey, like I'm not perfect. You know
Right.
what I mean? Like I have really bad days, and sometimes I have a lot of bad days during the week, but then I have a couple really amazing days. And so it kind of keeps me going and I feel like I don't know, it just kind of sometimes just like I feel like talking about this and a lot of times I'll write things down because I'll have thoughts and then all of a sudden I might forget.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes I'm just like I really want to talk about this with other girls, you know, even with men, you know, we all go through it, especially
Sure.
and I feel like in our community,
Sure.
you know, it's like we have our kind of our community of that, but also just I don't know, I just really want people to not feel like they have to be something else.
True.
You know, like we don't have to mold into somebody
Mm-hmm.
else or hey, I've got more money than you or I've got this.
I
Like
see a lot of that too.
100%, you know,
Mela,
every day.
Mela, what's your thoughts on that?
People always ask how I got here. I was willing to work just a little harder than everyone else. Every damn day. If I can have hundreds of hours back, you know I'm gonna grab them. Spending hours prepping chicken, rice, and vegetables, F that. I rely on perfect nutrition. I rely on trifecta.
Do you think
Well,
it's good to be authentic and real?
Excuse me?
Do you think it's good to be authentic and like letting everything out there? You know what I mean? Or do you think that it's certain things we should keep private? Because at the same time, some people will view our social media and be like, "Oh my God, this person is this way," or you know what I mean? You know what I mean? Well, you know what I mean,
yes,
Ashley.
I know.
Yep.
There's
exactly
people
what
take,
you mean.
even though you mean something well, they take it and they turn it into crap. You know?
Yeah, I do believe in being authentic. That is one of the things that at least for my brand of Mela Ash, I always want to be authentically me. And so, but at the same time, I do believe that part of the realness is keeping part of you to yourself. You know, the idea of every little aspect is supposed to be shared with everybody. That's not real. You know, we don't naturally share with just random people every aspect of it. We don't fully just expose ourselves, you know, every aspect of our life. At least for me, I don't believe in it. You know, I believe in being honest about what I'm
Sure.
sharing. And I do share the goods, the bads, but I don't share as an obligation. I'm one of those, which also is a problem in relation to marketing, is that, you know, there are time periods where I have to take care of real life. And so over the years, I've learned that trying to keep up with the IG, you know, or the social media, you know, masters out
Right.
there who can post 3 or 4 times a day and they're putting something out there, you know, for me, when I speak, I want to speak with purpose. You know, I want to say something, you know, even if it's just randomness of just showing the randomness of me. That's something that I want to say. The idea of just posting a selfie and just saying, today I had a latte today, you know, I'm like, and I'm not saying that that's bad, because, you know, there's some people who they want to follow every aspect of, you know, people's lives like that. They want to know that. But for some
Hey, here I
reason,
am on the toilet, right? That kind of,
right, but it's true, you know, like, you know, people like, you know, like the Kardashians, people eat that up, you know, but for me, I look at myself and I'm just Mela. So and I don't believe that people care. I'm like, people don't care that you know, I had an espresso today, you know, but people might
I
care
care,
about
damn
that.
it.
Today wasn't the best
Yeah.
day for me, you know, and that's the stuff that I like to share. I like to share when I have good days. I like to share when I have bad days. I like to share that, you know, sometimes I go dark on IG and come back and I explain to people, you know, I had to take care of real life, you know, or I was going through, you know, I was going through something like when my sister, my dad passed, you know, I was off social media for about almost 2 months.
Oh, wow.
You know,
I
I
didn't
finally
know
came
that.
back and I let people know. I was like, look, I had to mourn. I had to heal. I had to find my way back out of the darkness. You know, so
Do
and
you
I feel
find when
that's
we,
part of my brand
and
is always just being real.
I'm sorry about your loss, but do you find that when we take, you know, listen, we build up these followers and stuff, but do you find that when we take time away from social media, now we have to start all over again with rebuilding and engagements and stuff? Or do you think that hurts our social media at all?
I
And Chelsea's saying
I
yes.
I don't think so. If if you're somebody who posts 3 or 4 times a day and then all of a sudden you do stop posting, I think when you come back and you explain or you just, hey, you know, sorry I went dark, blah, blah, blah. I think people do have a level of understanding of that,
Sure.
you know, so, but it does hurt you in a relation of maybe the engagement of picking up new followers. You
Right.
do have to, that's the thing that I've noticed is that those time periods where I do go dark, then the amount of followers that I'm picking up, that percentage goes down, and I'm assuming it's because of what pops up in the search engines and everything. The more frequency you have it, the more they put your stuff out there. So you have to rebuild that. But I don't think it really hurts in the grand scheme of things, because
What?
it also helps you maintain followers, because it gets them an authenticity that you're real
Sure,
and you're going through life just like them. So
sure. I agree with that. Chelsea, what do you think? You think it hurts?
So, an example, I got off Instagram for like 5 days leading up to Rising Phoenix. I logged back in, I lost over 500 followers.
Wow.
oh,
But
wow.
like, but it is what it is. I needed to take the time away because Instagram sometimes can get so like, I get so stuck on it. And the first thing I do when I click to open my phone is my thumb goes straight to my Instagram app. And I was hating that. I was really like hating that that's what I instantly would do the moment I turn my phone on. So taking that time away really helps me like declutter my brain. It helped me focus more on other social medias like my YouTube. And yeah, coming back on, I'm like, man, I lost over 500 people just because I took 5 days off. Like, but that's the one reason why I say I think it does hurt a little bit. But honestly, like, what is 500 followers? Like, they'll come back eventually.
Now, do you ladies have you monetize off your Instagram at all?
I'm not.
Ashley, do
not
you?
really.
No. Mela, do
Not
you?
really.
No. I'm like, I feel like every time I go on Instagram, there's some new feature. I'm like, great. Now I've got to sit up here and read and figure out how to do this. So no, I don't, because I can't figure out how to do it yet. So I'm
Now,
not.
Ashley, do you
monetizing.
study other influencers? Like when you do some of your posts, like maybe like for photos, like different ideas and things. Now, I know your husband is a very good photographer, which is you're blessed because he can just
It's
take
helpful.
pictures of you, yeah, all the time, different things. I'm jealous.
I know, it's cool. That's why it's always like, it's cool because we do it together, right? It's hand in hand. So I feel like we both have a lot of like, he'll have inspo, like things that, he'll kind of like store, like, oh, I have this idea of doing this. Or I'm like, hey, like I seen something and I think we should try this. Or we're just like in the moment, like, hey, let's create, and we just kind of go with it. But I feel like there are people that I follow, but they're more of like, they're kind of more just like fashion or like funny type stuff. And I'll see something and it'll like kind of spark something, give me an idea of like, this would be really cool to recreate or do something like this. But I feel like there's not just a one person. I feel like the people obviously close, in my life on Instagram that I talk to and stuff like that. I feel like even their posts can like inspire me. Like, that's a good idea. That's something maybe that I should talk about too, because I haven't spoke about that, or doing something a certain way, like, so I like taking little things from people that I feel like are just smart in the way that they're able to relay something or write something, um, just because I think when I first started, it was hard for me to kind of put myself out there and feel like even talking and being on here with you girls, like it would almost make me feel kind of like, okay, like kind of shy in a sense, to really like,
You're not shy.
I'm not, I know.
That's for sure. You're not shy. It's not hard to
Yeah.
get things out of you. It's
Yeah, I know. I think it was more of just feeling like, I think it for a while was just more of just feeling judged by others,
Yeah.
and
Well,
it was uncomfortable for me.
that's the biggest problem I have with the industry and just in general. And I don't like that everybody's always judging, right? They're always judging us. It's like,
Yeah.
give me a break. Get off my ass. You know what I mean? Just
I know.
accept me for who I am. If you don't, well,
Yeah,
I mean, do you agree,
I know.
Mela, that we're constantly, like female bodybuilders, we're constantly being judged. Constantly.
very
Oh, God.
much.
It's
just
ridiculous.
like-
But
So that's why it's just like learning, like, hey, like, you know what? Who cares? I realized, like, you know what? I don't care anymore, because the people that truly care about me, you know what I mean? Like, they'll be there. Like, everyone's gonna judge it. You know what I
Well,
mean? Like, it's always.
let's dig into this for a second, all right? We're going to social media again. Instagram, obviously, we see a lot of TNA. And when I say TNA, boobs, but you know,
Yeah.
which is. I mean, am I wrong, Mela? We see a lot of that every. You know,
Yeah.
I just had my
do.
protein shake, but she's bent over showing her ass. I mean, okay,
Right.
I
I'm like,
get
how
it.
many
All right.
times have you guys seen somebody cooking in a thong bathing suit? I'm like, really? I I don't prep like maybe that's why my food doesn't taste as great.
It needs some spice, right? She's added spice to it. Well, I mean, listen, we all have done some fun things here and there, you know.
Yeah.
Who doesn't? But my point is this: is like you mentioned about sponsors, Ashley, and I know Mela, you've even talked about sponsors, and Chelsea, you talk. You know, when you have a certain image on social media, can that affect sponsors? If we're showing a lot of, you know, cleavage or things, does that affect sponsors? Do you think it does, Chelsea?
In my experience, I want to say it hasn't, thankfully. I have kind of toned down the TNA as
Yeah, you're
they
not
say.
really putting raunchy pictures out there, though. You know.
No, no.
No.
But like,
No.
don't get me wrong, I love to post sexy things. Like I love to show that side of me and that side of, you know, female bodybuilding just because we have muscle and doesn't mean that we're not sexy, doesn't mean,
Yes.
you
Yeah.
know, we're not a certain type of way. So I really do love sharing that side. But in my experience, it hasn't really affected any type of sponsorships, thankfully. But I know it can.
What do you
Um,
What do you think, Mela?
You know what? I'm gonna be honest with you. I think that one of the reasons that I don't think it does, because let's be honest, sex sells. I'm
mhm.
like, it sells when it comes to women. I'm like, that's what sponsors want to see is some kind of sex appeal because that draws people in. I think, like Chelsea was saying, is that there's a difference between being sexy, but a lot of people don't understand the difference between sexy and sexual. And so I'm in agreement with Chelsea. I like to show the sexy side of female
It's art.
bodybuilding. We're more than just muscle. You know, we're sexy, we're beautiful. But you have people, like you said, you know, they're sitting there making a protein shake and they're bent over and they're showing their butt. And it's just like, is there a reason that we're being sexual about that? You know what I'm saying? It's just like,
Yeah.
but to be sexy, I'm like, that's one thing. I'm like, but I don't think it affects. I think the type of sex appeal you put on social media affects sponsorship.
Sure.
When it's to the point that it's raunchy, or
Yeah.
to the point that it's soft porn, I
Right.
think that might hinder you. But if you can show sex appeal, and you know, in a classy, for lack of term, a classy type of way, I think that actually brings more possibilities of sponsorship because if you can hit that balance.
Agree.
I agree too.
Great. Yep.
I agree. Well, let's talk about other social media platforms. So obviously, I'm assuming Instagram is the top of the list, or is it TikTok?
I hate TikTok
Why do you
Yeah, I
hate
know. I feel
TikTok?
because it's just a bunch of like little kids commenting a bunch of bullshit and adults who like drama. You know, it's just like
That
not
is true.
not my
When you
thing.
think
Like
that.
Have you
the
seen the amount of followers some of these TikTokers have?
it's crazy. And
It is
honestly,
crazy.
I don't think it's real. I think it's like inflated and jacked up on TikTok's end, you know, to make it seem like they are getting a lot of views and stuff. It just doesn't make sense to me.
Do you think it's wise that we all, like as athletes or fitness influencers, we all have all the social media platforms like IG, what is it, the new X, formerly Twitter, Snapchat, TikTok, whatever else is out there I don't know of, Instagram, Facebook. Do you think it's wise to have your brand on every single platform?
I think it's smart to focus your brand on certain ones where you can give your attention to all of them. Because
Right.
I know I have a trouble trying to space my attention out to all of them. You know, if I'm trying to do YouTube, if I'm trying to do Instagram, if I'm trying to do
YouTube,
TikTok,
yeah.
trying to do Facebook, like that's just so much, you know? So I just try to focus on the ones that I feel are the most important and put my energy into those because I'd rather put more quality out there
Right.
than like spreading it out everywhere with like bullshit.
You know what I run into though? It's like you got a nice picture. Do I post that same picture on all my social media platforms, or do I use a different picture for different? You know what I mean? I mean, can you? What would you, Mela? What would you advise me to do in a situation like that?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm like, one of the things that I like about the social media platforms now is that they allow you
Nico.
to recycle through them. Like in a sense, I'm with Chelsea. I'm like, I can't. I'm like, every day a new platform comes up, and and it's like, hey, join this, and I'm like, why? You know, who's on there? But the thing is that I like the fact that you can post something on one and just automatically have it reposted on a different platform. And
Like
so there are
Facebook.
times that, I will post something and I will send it to different platforms and just let it repost that way. And there's other times I'll have something that um, I want to say, and I'll just take that information and put it on a different picture, and then maybe post it 2 or 3 days later on another platform, or take the same thing and just 2 or 3 days later post it on another platform. So I'm like, I think just the variety, because the variety of doing it that way allows you to engage on the different platforms and not have to spend so much, because it's work. It's work, and
It
the
is
amount of
work.
time and energy to write, to hashtag, to post, to make sure that the image, is really appealing enough. That takes a lot of time and energy. But at the same time, even though it takes a lot of time and energy, there are some people that have started following me on Instagram because I've reposted something and sent it through to
Oh,
Facebook,
yeah,
or
right.
sent it through
Yeah.
to TikTok or something like that. And so, and whatever that new, which is sad because I'm on it, the new t- Twitter version of
X.
Instagram.
Threads. Isn't it like Threads,
Oh,
right?
Yeah,
Threads. That's
Threads. There
right.
you go,
Threads.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Threads. So
What
I'm
is the
like,
whole point of Threads? So it comes up in your Instagram as well. I mean, what is it?
it's like Twitter.
Yeah, like Twitter, pretty much. You could
You
just like
could
post
just
The
like
Instagram.
random stuff. Like it just like you said, like a face of you could do a photo with like a latte and put something and you could get more likes on that than maybe on Instagram. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because it's kind of more of like the Twitter feel, you know?
Right, that it's a random kind of thing. You put a couple of
Yeah.
words on there. It's just like, it's been one of those days,
It's been one of
that
those days. I like how you put that. It's been one of those days.
I even have that kind of day. You can't really put that on Instagram, but you can put it on Threads, and
Yeah.
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 people,
Right.
it'll pull that kind of thing. And so I think that's what it is, depending on, I guess the message or the feeling or what you want to put out there. I think
Yeah.
that kind of decides,
True. The
at least
setting
for
the
me,
tone.
which direction I want to go with where I want to post it. So
Well, let's talk about engagement. Here's something I want to ask you, ladies. So I heard that if you only respond, like on Instagram, with emojis, it doesn't help the algorithm. You need to like actually write something out. Is this true, Mela? Is this Ashley?
I heard the same thing. I heard the same thing that like it doesn't count it, like you actually have to comment back and say something. But this was like a year ago when I
Right.
heard this too. So I was like, well, sometimes I'll leave emojis, but sometimes I'm like, you know what? Sorry.
No, you're good. Like, you have maybe, let's say you have 200 comments, right?
Yeah.
And then some of these people are the same thing. Do you keep on, thank you, thank you, thank
No.
you, thank you?
I'll just like it.
Just like it.
like
Like it.
That's
Sometimes
my
I
thing.
don't.
What do you do,
I go
Chelsea? Do
back
you
and
respond to
forth.
every single
If it's
one?
just a bunch of emojis that I'm
Not
liking.
necessarily every single one of them, but if someone says something different, you know what I mean? Besides
Then
like
you,
Right.
yeah.
I'll definitely say like, oh, thank you, appreciate it, or I'll
Hugs.
comment back. I definitely try to at least put some words in there, but I didn't know that about the emoji thing.
Yeah.
I didn't either.
So, Mela,
Yeah.
how do you respond? Do you do emojis or you just like the comments?
Actually, I honestly try to comment. Now, that doesn't
Yeah.
mean I'm gonna comment on some. If there's like 200 comments, maybe I comment on 25 today, and maybe, a week from now, I go back through the post and I comment, but I'm like Chelsea. I'm like the ones that just a bunch of emojis I just like, and I just keep on moving. But when somebody says something that's distinct
Sure.
Yeah.
or something that really is different, or something like Ashley was saying that tells you, oh, they actually read the post,
Yeah. Yeah.
then I want to engage that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But I also noticed that if you do that, like the algorithm, when you actually do a serious engagement, that notification goes out to other people, and then people engage more
Oh, okay.
when they see that that's what got your attention. So I'm like, I've had a situation where somebody would only put an emoji, and then somebody said something that showed that they truly read, and it resonated with them. And so there was like a full sentence that I responded to. And then all of a sudden, somebody came back and responded underneath that. And so that changed how they responded to me because of that engagement.
Mhm.
So I guess it does have some kind of impact on, you know,
Now,
like
with
you said.
Instagram, should you post like several times a week or once every day or several times a day? How does that work, Chelsea?
I try to post at least once a day, if not like every other day, on my actual page. But on my stories, I'm always posting on my stories.
Is that
Just 'cause
so? So I see a lot of people. This brings up a good question. I see a
Yeah.
lot of people who have tons of stories, like maybe 30 different things in their stories, but yet they hardly post on Instagram. So is it fair to say that more people are watching stories than they are actually the post?
I don't think so. I think people are looking at the posts. Um, I don't like when there's a lot of stories, like when there's a bunch of dots.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Or when people like constantly, like, say I post a picture and a bunch of people start reposting that picture, like I'm not going to repost in my story those people who repost my photo. Like I will send them a message and say like, oh, thank you, but I'm not going to like clog up my stories with the same picture of me over and over and over again,
Yeah.
just because like I feel like that looks weird
I've
on my
seen
part.
people do that where they have one picture and they'll post like every other week, the
It's
same
like showing
photo.
off.
Yeah. Well, that's
Yeah.
probably
So
all
it's
they
like, like
have,
you're like, hey, look,
Look at all these people posting me.
Yeah.
I don't like to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you
Yeah,
think
I
it's
could see
wise though? Like I know that Instagram has that monetizing feature where people can subscribe. Do you think that's a bonus for people like us in the industry or anyone in general?
Yeah, I
Like, can
shut
you
the
blink?
Oh. Well, I mean, do you think it's wise to like have be a part of that subscription on Instagram? Think that's extra money that's decent to be made? You think?
I
It
think
could be.
oh,
No, go ahead, Ashley. Sorry. I mean, but you
Who?
have to
Oh,
be consistent, obviously, and then come up with a good price. And
yeah.
I, I've made. Have you guys made like remember when they first started like rewarding the reels and stuff?
yes, yeah.
I remember making some money off of those reels, and then all of a sudden, like they would like do like they would send me like a thing like, oh, um, you accomplished this or something, achieved this or whatever or something silly like that. I'm like, okay. But then after that, there was only like a few times that I had gotten paid on them, and then after it was just I
Nothing.
just didn't.
Yeah.
So I don't know what happened with that. So I mean, it could be worth it maybe to make like a few $100s. I guess it just depends on how much you do it,
Mhm.
honestly. But it only happened probably like for a few months actually. I think I made like a couple $100s each month
That's
just
not
on
bad.
some reels.
Yeah.
Not bad. I mean, it's you know what I mean.
It
It's
pays for a steak nowadays
It
at
adds
the
up.
yeah,
grocery prices.
exactly.
A
Yeah,
good steak.
yeah.
Mela, what would
But
you recommend athletes who are trying to build their social media? What's like the 3 top things you suggest they do?
I'm like, I honestly believe when it comes to from the athletic standpoint, number one, you got to figure out what your brand is.
Right.
A lot of times people are just posting,
yeah,
but you have to get like pretty much a platform or what you're about, and that consistency of always posting within that realm and everything, and not be all over the place, because that's what's going to pull the followers in, at least in my opinion. Um, and then bring a level of consistency, and then you got to be smart. and people, some people might not want to believe this, but it is true that the hashtags, using the right kind of hashtags in there, to actually help that search engine find your stuff. So a consistency with your brand, figuring out what you want to be about, what you want to say, making that a consistent thing, wrapping your message around that in some way, shape, or form. It doesn't have to be, narrow, tunnel vision, cut and dry, but a majority of it, making sure that you're bringing it out there often enough, and then just making sure you're setting it up in a way that it is getting out there as far as possible. So
Okay.
Agreed.
So do you agree with everything she says, Ashley, or do you have more to add to that?
I agree to that. And when I actually first started, I was always using hashtags, and I don't really use them as much. I don't know. I'm just kind of like, you know what I mean? I guess it just depends. But I also noticed, like, with the algorithm and me posting at certain times, like with my following, like, 'cause, everyone, we all have different followers, and like mine are usually like in the mornings or in the evenings
yeah,
that like
that's
will,
true.
right? So like I noticed that like the time that you post, depending on your audience, can really help, um, really kind of build and attract people more to see your stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So when I was monetizing it a bit more, it did help. It helped me to like understand, what to put out there, what people liked. Um, and then I kind of came to the point where I was like, well, my audience is kind of broad with, liking the sexy,
Sure.
photo, fitness, training, whatever it may be. So those are just some tips, I guess, like she said, like
Mm-hmm.
finding your audience on who you're wanting to reach. Like what are you trying to show? What are you trying to grow? Are you trying to, become a coach, or
Right.
you're trying to teach, training, posing, whatever it may be. So I think
Knowing
that's
your
really helpful.
why, I guess, is what we're looking at, right? When it comes to the
Yeah.
social media. Chelsea, do
Yep.
you have anything to add on to that?
I feel like they pretty much covered a lot of it. I know when it comes to my social media, I started Instagram in 2013. So on mine, you can go all the way back to when I started. You can see everything, every loss, every win, every up and down in my life. Like I was always very vulnerable and open, and um, shared a lot of things on Instagram. You can literally see like the day I got approved for my first apartment. I was on there
Oh,
crying.
wow.
I wish I shared that with people because so many people have become invested in my story over the years. They've watched me be married. They've watched my first show. They've watched me gain all the weight. They've seen, the loss of my parents. They've seen a lot of stuff. So, people are so invested that when they see where I'm at now, it gives them hope that they
Sure.
can
Of course.
it can change anything around. So I definitely suggest that like being open and not being afraid to be vulnerable is definitely something that helps. Especially it worked for me.
It's hard being vulnerable. Like, listen, I mean, you're getting ready to hit that send button. You're putting your whole life out there. Some people, it's hard to do it. Like, I'll use myself as an example. I've been through some rough patches recently, and sometimes I'll share certain like memes and things, but for me to like really put it out there, it's I'm not gonna lie to you ladies, I give you guys credit, but it's hard. It's very hard because when you're listen, most of I'm a very positive, happy-go-lucky person, but I can't be like that all the time. We all have our moments, and it's hard for me to open up to my things that I'm going through because I don't want to let other people down. But what you're saying is, listen, we're all regular people, right? When you let people know who you are, then they can, oh, look, she's a regular person like me. She's not always happy all the time. She does have things going on. But it's hard, and I just wanted to say that for me, it's just, I applaud you girls. I mean, back in the day, I used to be an open book, and then I closed up just because I had so much feedback from people, not nice stuff. So,
Fuck,
anyway.
fuck that. Honestly,
Let it fuel you. Let it fuel you.
Yeah, true.
I feel I feel like though, you have to remember that when you are posting those vulnerable things, that somebody out there needs to hear it too. Like
Right.
need to know that like, wow, this person that I might look up to is feeling that way as well. Like I'm not the only person, or I'm not the only person going through this. You know, I try to use Instagram as like a diary, and it's been like that since 2013. So,
Yeah.
Well,
um,
with me,
people,
I open up about my mother, and because I still, she's been gone for several years now, but I'm still traumatized by it.
yeah,
And I made a post about her, and somebody said I just need to get over it. They're
Mm,
very rude, and I'm just like, oh, I'm not. I probably need to not be mentioning this anymore. Just, I mean,
But
I
you know
get it, but
what? I'm gonna
anyway.
be honest with you, Isabel. I'm like, the reality is that there's some people who I feel literally just troll through Instagram
Yes.
and just try to find something to be
yes,
ugly because they're going through an
yeah.
ugly moment. And so
Yeah.
hurt people, you
Yep.
mm-hmm,
know? And so because the same thing happened to me, and I'm not as, and I applaud Chelsea because I'm not, even though I try to be open and real, even when I'm being vulnerable, there's still a wall around it because
Hmm.
that is something that when you are being that raw and that open, and you know that there are people out there who are just waiting to be able to kick you, in that
Oh, of
moment. So I do
course.
keep a level of wall, but I do keep, the I do try to be vulnerable. And so I think you could do the same thing, but the thing is that in those vulnerable moments, that's one of the things that I try my best not to go through the comments because it really does, it hits a certain way. It's
mm-hmm,
one thing when people are saying things about me, being a woman that has muscles, and women don't supposed to have muscles, even though it's the same muscle in everybody's body, it's just more defined, but whatever, you know. But when I go through something and I'm sharing something that is deep, that cuts me deep, or that is not inspiring or motivating. You know, I post it and then I walk away from it, you know. But what I like about that is that it's like what Chelsea said. Somebody will always DM me. They don't usually, comment. They're DM just like, I needed to know that. I needed
Yeah.
to know that I'm not the only type of person that's going through that, or somebody like you. Because that's the thing that really, for me, that's motivating is that I inspire people that, and I feel like all of us do. We inspire
Mhm.
people when we are vulnerable or we share something that they say, you know what? If somebody on your level goes through goes through that also, then I don't feel that much alone. And I feel like what I'm doing, I can get through that.
Hmm.
If you have those dark moments, if sometimes you stumble, if sometimes you have to take a knee, then I don't feel as bad that, I had that stumbling moment because it shows that it's just a part of life,
Hmm.
mm-hmm.
so
Yeah.
Agreed. Yeah, I mean, that's a good way to put it, Mela. I appreciate all of you girls because,
Yeah.
listen, each and every one of you inspire me, as you know. But, well, ladies, I don't want to keep you. I know you guys got things to do, and I appreciate your time being on the show and talking about the branding and marketing. And I hope that someone out there is inspired and learned a lot from this episode. But, ladies, I'm going to leave it with each and every one of you. You have something you want to say to your fans, your family, your followers, sponsors, whatever. I'm going to start with you, Ashley.
I just want to say that I would not be here if it wasn't for my followers believing in me, for my sponsors that I have now that are like my hostile, like they are like I went through some frogs to find one that just finding a sponsor, like I know it sounds weird even saying this, but finding a family through your sponsorship that like believe in you and your success and working together. And I feel like all of us just have to, I don't know, just be grateful for where we're at. You know what I mean? And what we have, and remember that.
You're going to make me start crying saying that, but you're absolutely right.
You know what I mean, though? I just feel like I have to remind myself a lot, you know? Sometimes it's like where I'm at, I'm achieved a lot. We've all achieved a lot, but we still sometimes can look at what maybe we haven't achieved or where we
Sure.
want to be. And it puts you kind of in this spot, but it's like, no, we're all amazing humans.
We
And I
are.
know and I know you guys are too. I know you. Like I can feel you. I know Chelsea May. I just met you, and you seem awesome. But
Oh,
you know,
she's a firecracker. She's something else.
she seems like it. So, but I like it.
Yeah.
So, but yeah,
And I understand where you're coming from with the family and sponsors. That's a big thing. That's a big
yeah,
thing.
it is.
It's hard to find that nowadays too. So
Yeah.
And not be a cash cow.
that's
You know
right.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chelsea?
I just want to say to whoever is trying to build their brand, trying to get sponsors, just to keep at it. For me, it's like the fruit of my labor has like finally come to fruition just recently, and like a lot of amazing things have come about. And I feel like it's just been years and years and years of me just, you know, posting and being real and sharing my story that has gotten me to where I am now with, you know, my sponsorships and stuff. So just to not stop posting, keeping you, find some brands that you love and support, and they will notice you if you keep posting about them. And that's how real, genuine sponsors come about.
Mm-hmm.
Mela?
I'm in agreement with Chelsea. I'm just like it's it's a process. You know, it doesn't happen overnight. Um, not the genuine like the genuine sponsors like Ashley was talking about. That doesn't really happen overnight. That's something that they have to see that you're going to be invested in them like they're going to be invested in you. That overnight kind of stuff, you know, it's fly by night. You know, it comes and it goes. But um it's like Chelsea said, you just gotta keep at it. You know, figure out your audience, figure out what brands that you can actually, you know, that you love. And that's what it's that you love. Because the ones that you love, it comes across genuine when you're talking about it. And just keep posting it, just keep posting and making sure that you're tagging those sponsors and they will notice. Eventually they will notice and it will make a difference. And so,
Yep.
but just like everybody else, I want to thank everybody who has followed me on this journey. Um, it is without you guys, I wouldn't be here. So I'm thankful for them, just like I'm thankful for all of you guys because you are inspiring in one way, shape, or form, and have helped me to evolve on social media. You know, Chelsea's one of the reasons that I've gotten a little more sexy on social media. You know, I'm like, Isabel, believe it or not, I'm just like, the fact that you are just so crazy, motivatedly uplifting and inspiring. I'm just like, that energy is just insane and I love it. And so bringing that out there, I'm like, that little piece of sunshine, I'm like, those little snippets of sunshine make a huge difference. And it taught me that, you know what, if that made me feel this way, it probably will make the people who follow me feel that way.
Yeah.
And so sometimes I do bring my randomness out there. So I thank everybody, I thank all you guys, and I thank everybody who follows me and enjoying this ride. So
Oh, I enjoyed all your ladies' rides, and it's amazing following your journeys, each and every one of you. Ladies, thank you so much for the words of wisdom and motivation for our fans out there. I appreciate you so much, and thank you for being on the Fit Rockstar Show. Until next time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you as well. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.